Rosalind Cates had been standing at the elevator bank of the Aldercrest Harlow for 4 minutes. It was 3 minutes longer than she usually stood anywhere, without doing something about it. She was a retired pharmacist from Dayton, in town for her college roommate's retirement dinner, and she had learned over 6 decades that the world moved faster when you moved with it. She had her thumb on the call button. She had her key in her coat pocket. She had absolutely no reason to stop. Then she saw the bellman put his hand out. Not on the woman, nothing like that. Just the flat palm of a stop, the kind you'd give a cab, extended toward a black woman in a camel coat who had just crossed the lobby pulling a single neat carry-on behind her. The woman was in her mid-50s, composed, unhurried. The kind of person who moved through the world as though she had planned her route and found it satisfactory. She had a keycard in her hand. She was 2 steps from the elevator. "These elevators are for registered guests," the bellman said. He was young, mid-30s, with the particular confidence of someone who had never been told he was wrong in this lobby before. His name tag said Darren. "Guest services is just past the front desk. They'll get you sorted." The woman stopped. She looked at him. She held up the keycard. "I am a registered guest," she said. Her voice was even, unhurried. "Room 1408. I checked in 40 minutes ago." Darren's expression did not change in the way it changes when a person reconsiders. It changed in the way it changes when a person decides the evidence in front of them doesn't apply. "There may have been a mix-up with the system," he said. "Guest services can confirm your reservation and issue a new card." "The card works," she said. "I used it on the side entrance 20 minutes ago." "All the same." He gestured past the front desk with the practiced patience of a man performing courtesy just to verify. Behind her, a white couple in their 40s walked up. Darren stepped back, held the elevator door, smiled. They thanked him and boarded. The doors closed. The woman watched this. She turned back to Darren. She set her carry-on handle down, straightened it, and held the keycard out toward him at arm's length, not pushing it into his hand, not waving it, just holding it in the air between them, the way you hold a document you are willing to let someone read. "Which guests?" she said. "Feeling." She was not loud. She was not trembling. She was doing what Rosalind would later describe to her roommate as the most controlled thing she had ever seen a human being do. She was asking a question that had only one honest answer, and waiting with perfect stillness for him to try to give another one. Darren opened his mouth. Rosalind put her thumb down from the call button. She did not plan this. She was not an activist. She had spent 40 years counting pills and counseling patients on drug interactions. And she was tired and her feet hurt. And the retirement dinner started at 7. She had absolutely no reason to get involved. But something that she would not be able to name for days afterward. Not courage. Exactly. More like the refusal of a particular kind of nausea. Put her feet in motion and brought her to stand beside the woman in the camel coat. "I'd like to hear the answer to that question," Rosalind said. Darren looked at her. He recalibrated. "Ma'am, I'm just following hotel protocol for access verification." "Is that the protocol?" Rosalind asked. "Because I walked up to this elevator 4 minutes ago, and you held the door for me." She hadn't planned to say it. But it was true, and saying it aloud made it something she couldn't unsay, and that felt right. The woman with the keycard did not thank her. She did not look over with relief or gratitude, or any of the emotions Rosalind might have expected. She looked at Rosalind the way you look at someone who has simply confirmed a fact you already knew. And then she looked back at Darren. She waited. A man in his late 60s, a big man in a sport coat, had come up behind Rosalind while she spoke. He hadn't meant to be part of anything either. He was heading to the elevator the same way everyone heads to an elevator, on autopilot, thinking about dinner. But he had heard. He stopped beside Rosalind. "How long does the re-verification take?" he asked Darren. Darren turned to him. "Sir, this doesn't concern." "I'm asking because I'm trying to figure out whether to wait," the man said pleasantly. "We all came up at the same time." He gestured at the small cluster that had assembled without anyone noticing. Himself, Rosalind, a young woman with a conference lanyard, and a couple from the bar who had heard the tone and drifted over the way people do when something in a room shifts. The call button was still unlit. No one had pressed it. The woman in the camel coat had not moved. Darren looked at the five of them. He looked at her. Something behind his eyes was Oz beginning to understand that this was not going the way it was supposed to go. But his chin was still set with the particular stubbornness of someone who has not yet found the exit from being publicly wrong. "I'm going to need to call a supervisor," he said. "Please do," the woman said. He stepped away, his radio at his ear, angling his back to the group. The woman with the keycard set her carry-on handle down again, straightened it again, and stood where she was. She was not performing patience. She was not managing distress. She was simply a person waiting for something she was owed, and she had clearly decided she could wait as long as it took. Rosalind realized she had never seen this before. Not like this, not this cleanly. She had seen people wait angrily, and she had seen people wait in the cringing way of someone who isn't sure they have the right to be there. She had never seen anyone wait the way this woman was waiting, as though the waiting itself were a form of testimony. The man in the sport coat introduced himself as Gerald. The young woman with the lanyard was here for the same conference as Rosalind's roommate, as it turned out. The couple from the bar were celebrating their anniversary. "What's your name?" Gerald asked the woman. "Claudette," she said. "Voss." "Where are you from, Claudette?" "Columbus," she said. "You Cincinnati," he said. Small world, and the five of them, 6. Actually, because a young man with headphones had wandered over and taken in the scene and stayed, stood at the elevator bank of the Aldercrest, Harlow on a Thursday evening and did not press the button, and did not board, and did not disperse. The supervisor arrived in 4 minutes. He was a floor manager named Neil, 40, harried, who had clearly been reached mid-shift change, and had come fast enough that his tie was slightly center. He spoke to Darren briefly and quietly. Darren pointed at Claudette. Neil looked at Claudette. He looked at the 6 people standing with her. He looked at the keycard in her hand. He crossed to her directly. "Mrs. Voss," he said, reading it off the card she held out. "I'm so sorry for the delay. Is this the card you used at check-in?" "It is," she said. He took it, swiped it on the panel. The elevator chimed. The doors opened. "It's fully valid," he said. "Your reservation is confirmed. I apologize." He turned to Darren. His voice was quieter now. Not a performance of authority, but the real thing. "I need you to step to the back office. Now, please." Darren went. He did not say anything on the way. Neil held the elevator. Claudette picked up her carry-on. Gerald waved her forward. The young woman with the lanyard was already holding the door. Rosalind followed, and the anniversary couple, and the young man with headphones who had never been invited to any of this and had joined anyway. The elevator rose. "I'm going to write this up tonight," Neil said, mostly to himself, partly to the elevator. This doesn't meet our standard. I'd like to know what happens," Claudette said. Not asking him to promise anything, just making a note of what she would and would not accept. "You'll have a call from our general manager before breakfast," he said. "That's not a courtesy. That's a commitment." She looked at him and seemed to decide he meant it. "Thank you," she said. She did not perform gratitude. She accepted a thing she was owed and acknowledged it. The elevator reached the 14th floor. The doors opened. Claudette stepped out and turned back. And for a moment she looked at the 7 people in the car. This strange assemblage of strangers who had stood with her for no reason except that the alternative had stopped feeling possible. "Good night," she said. Simple, warm, like someone who has long known how to close a hard day with grace. The doors closed. In the elevator going up, no one spoke for a floor and a half. Then Gerald said, "Cincinnati to Columbus is an hour 40. The young woman with the lanyard laughed, surprised by it, grateful for it. "Shh." The anniversary couple leaned slightly into each other. Rosalind didn't laugh. She was thinking about the thumb she'd taken off the call button. She was thinking about the 4 minutes she'd stood there before Claudette arrived, and about how easily those 4 minutes could have carried over into 5, 6, 10, into the whole thing happening, and her never seeing it and pressing the button anyway, and boarding. She had made one decision. It had cost her nothing. Nothing. She had set her bag down and asked a question, and the whole shape of the evening had changed. That night, at the retirement dinner, she told her roommate about it over the salad course, and then again over dessert, because she kept finding the part that mattered, and then finding a deeper part underneath it. She wasn't waiting to be rescued, Rosalind said. She wasn't waiting for us to make it okay. She was just waiting for what was right. Like she had done it before. Like she knew exactly how long she was willing to stand there and exactly what it would prove. Her roommate, been a civil rights attorney for 30 years, nodded slowly over her coffee. They usually do, she said. The following morning, Claudette Voss received a call from the general manager of the Aldercrest Harlow at 8:43. 17 minutes before the promised hour, she listened. She asked two questions. She accepted the hotel's formal written apology and the assurance that Darren Price had been removed from lobby access duties pending an HR review, and that the hotel's front-of-house protocols would be updated before the week was out to require keycard verification at all access points before any guest was redirected. She ordered room service afterward. Coffee and eggs. She sat at the window, looking out at the city for a long while, unhurried, as though she had always planned the route and found it. After everything, satisfactory. Downstairs, a laminated card went up at the elevator bank by end of business. Key card verification is the standard. Present your key. All registered guests are welcomed here. It was a small sign, but Rosalind Cates saw it on her way out that afternoon with her rolling bag, and she stopped, and she read it twice, and then she kept walking, out through the brass doors, into the afternoon, carrying the particular weight of a person who had almost done nothing, and chose, at the last second, not to.